that my shirt?
Junk for a handful of keepers.
Yeah.
The crew decides to rail dump.
I'm just asking.
Guy in the bar said to pass it on.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Frank?
Jesus Christ, Dad.
You're drunk, Frank. You're drunk.
This is drunk?
Stop.
This is
No.
You want to see drunk?
Don't do this to your kids, Frank.
Oh.
What are you? A tough guy, Steve? You think you're a fucking tough guy? Because you look like a premenstrual Filipino.
Steve, get out! Hey!
Alright, so boom. We're talking about the top 5 white sitcom families that are ghetto. And before you roll your eyes like, what you mean ghetto? Nah. I'm talking about pure dysfunction, broke but bold energy, drama on top of drama. The kind of families where if you pulled up to their house unannounced, you either gonna smell cigarettes, see somebody screaming in the kitchen, or catch one of the kids in the yard breaking something that don't belong to them. That's sitcom ghetto at its finest. Now we gon' count this down from 5 to 1 and crown the undisputed kings and queens of white sitcom hood living. At 5th, we got My Name Is Earl, the Hickeys and the entire Trailer Park Gang. Bruh, Earl Hickey was literally a career criminal who hit rock bottom and decided karma was coming for him, so he spent the whole series trying to right his wrongs. But the fact that you got a main character who used to scam, rob, and live off quick hustles automatically screams ghetto. Earl's brother Randy? Dumb as a sack of potatoes. Joy? Loud, petty, and toxic. Out here yelling in parking lots with no shame. Catalina? Working at a motel and stripping on the side just to get by. And the whole trailer park? If Section 8 housing had its own TV channel, this would have been the pilot. They didn't just live ghetto. They embraced it, wore it like a badge of honor, and cracked jokes while doing it. Moving on to 4th, Roseanne, the Connors. Now listen, Roseanne Barr gave us one of the most realistic blue-collar families on TV. But let's not get it twisted. They were ghetto as hell. Every episode was some new broke problem. Bills late, kids rebelling, lights almost cut off, the house looking like a thrift store that got robbed, and Roseanne yelling at the top of her lungs like she paid for a megaphone with her last paycheck. Dan was doing construction, just to keep gas in the car. Darlene had that moody teenager I hate everybody energy. Becky was ready to fight. DJ was just there existing. And the whole family screamed, "We're one bounce check away from eviction." That's sitcom ghetto. You could hear the stress in the laugh track. Now sliding into 3rd, Married with Children, the Bundys. The Bundys are legendary in the Hall of Fame of TV struggle. Al Bundy hated his life so much it became a brand. My man was working at a women's shoe store, looking miserable every single day, coming home to a family that disrespected him like it was tradition. Peggy Bundy? Sitting on the couch with her leopard print leggings, watching TV, eating bonbons, and refusing to cook or clean. Straight ghetto mama energy. Kelly Bundy? Beautiful but dumb as a box of crayons. Bud Bundy? The king of corny. Together they made a household that was broke, sarcastic, and toxic, but in the most hilarious way possible. Their fridge stayed empty, their house stayed raggedy, and Al stayed screaming about how he scored 4 touchdowns in one game back in high school, like that was gonna pay the rent. The Bundys weren't just ghetto. They made being broke look iconic. At 2nd, Malcolm in the Middle, the Wilkersons. Now this right here was suburban ghetto turned into an art form. Lois? Lois was the queen of loud. The kind of mama who would embarrass you in the grocery store with no hesitation, cussing you out in front of the cashier and daring you to say something back. Hal? Hal was goofy as hell. The definition of dad who tries but fails, always caught up in some weird hobby or nervous breakdown. And the kids? Boy, them kids were the definition of chaos. Reese was violent and dumb. Malcolm was smart but always miserable. Dewey was weird and sneaky. And then you got little Jamie later on just adding to the disaster. The kitchen table was one bad paycheck away from being repossessed. And every episode felt like Child Protective Services should have been called, but somehow they survived another week. They were ghetto because they didn't just live in chaos, they thrived in it. And it made for some of the funniest, most relatable sitcom moments ever. And finally at 1st, the undisputed heavyweight champions of white sitcom ghetto life, Shameless, the Gallaghers. Now let's keep it a buck. The Gallaghers make everybody else on this list look like the Brady Bunch. Frank Gallagher was a full-time scammer and part-time drunk. Out here faking injuries, stealing checks, and selling his kids' stuff for drug money. Fiona had to step in as the mama, holding it down for the whole family while her siblings were all out here living the struggle life. Lip was a genius but couldn't stay out of trouble. Ian was juggling his own battles while still running scams. Debbie was toxic and messy. Carl was out here trying to be the neighborhood thug. And poor little Liam was just a baby growing up in a house full of madness. They were documentary ghetto. They were so raw with it, half the time you forgot you were watching a comedy. Drugs, scams, fights, robberies, drunk parents, kids raising themselves. That's the Gallaghers. They didn't just earn the crown, they built the crown, pawned it, bought it back, and then broke it on purpose. So let's run it back one more time for the people in the cheap seats. 5th, the Hickeys from My Name Is Earl. 4th, the Connors from Roseanne. 3rd, the Bundys from Married with Children. 2nd, the Wilkersons from Malcolm in the Middle. And 1st, the Gallaghers from Shameless. That's your lineup. And if you grew up watching any of these shows, you know exactly why they earned their spot. Because every episode felt like a mix of comedy, poverty, and pure chaos. The kind of energy that makes you laugh and shake your head at the same time.